and welcome to my little corner of the internet. Sorry if the sound quality is not the best today. I don't have my mic hooked up, but hopefully you can still hear me pretty well. Today we are going to be doing a really fun but really daunting book challenge, which you've probably seen it all over the internet before, but it is pretty much just a spinner wheel decides how many pages I read for the day for a week. And while that is super fun, mine is going to be a little bit more high stakes because we are going to go from 1 to 400, and that is crazy for me. I don't read a lot. Like, I try to read 100 pages a day, but usually it never happens. It's just a goal I preset for myself. But today and this week, we are so doing this regardless. I'm starting this on a Thursday, so we're gonna go Thursday to Thursday, which means Friday and Saturday will be really great days for me to get those high numbers. But Monday through Friday when I work, I don't know, man. And I've been picking up a lot of overtime recently, so I don't know how productive this is gonna be for me. But it's okay. I'm gonna have really a lot of fun. I'm gonna work on getting some books off of my TBR for August and just catching up on some reads that I've been reading or really want to read. So let's get into it. So the way I have set up this challenge is once the number is chosen, it's gonna be removed. So if I get that number again, then we will just re-roll. So I don't want to get the same number of pages every single day. However, it's probably not going to happen just because there are so many numbers from 0 to 400. But let's go ahead and get into this and generate our number. Okay, so we will be attempting to read 357 pages today. That is insane, but let's go over what we are picking up. So I'm at page 365 in The Striker by Anna Huang, and this is a copy from the library. I decided to get it from the library because I didn't actually know if it would be for me. I don't think I've really ever read a sports romance before, or if I have, it was a long time ago, so this just didn't seem like something I would want to buy. However, I'm really enjoying it. I feel like the banter and the romance is super fun, and even though it's a super long book, it is almost 600 pages. I feel like it is done so well, and I am absolutely loving this. We're following Asher Donovan and Scarlett DuBois, and Asher is a football player. Scarlett was a ballet dancer. We get representation for hidden disabilities in here, which I absolutely love, and them trying to navigate their hidden romance that they're having because of his famous football career, as well as her brother and Asher not being friends and not getting along. That's really all I can say without spoiling it, but I don't feel like an Anna Huang book has really let me down yet. I've only read this one, and then I read the first 2 books in the If Love series. While the second one was not my favorite, I don't typically tend to favor second chance romances, so honestly it was kind of expected, and a 3-star is really good for that type of book. Now this is kind of like a rivals to lovers, but only rivals because her brother didn't like him, but it was still like, it's still going really good for me. I still am really loving it. I'm thinking 4, maybe close to 5. I wouldn't say it's going to be a full 5-star, but it is so good and I highly recommend it so far. And honestly, this cover's so pretty too. But anyway, this is what we're going to be starting with. When I run out of pages, then we will be picking up Namesake by Adrienne Young. This is the second book in the Fable duology. No, I think it is a trilogy. Trilogy. This is the second book, and my husband has been begging me to pick this up. He absolutely adores this series, and I really did like the first one. I think I gave it a 3 or a 4 star, so I am excited to pick this up as well. But I will let you guys know my progress as I make it through the day. Wish me luck. It is officially the next day, so let's talk about what I completed yesterday. So I finished The Striker by Anna Wong, and I felt like after that last check-in that I started losing interest. It just felt like it was dragging on, which is kind of what I was scared for, but I really do love a good slow burn, so I wasn't thinking I was going to lose interest, but I just felt like as things started to finally wrap up in the story, there was a third act breakup, and then some other things like just random, not necessarily drama-filled moments, but kind of like that just tried to increase the length of the story. I felt like we already had scenes like that scattered throughout, so why are we kind of repeating it but a different situation towards the end? Other than that, I mean, it was really good. I would say, like, literally, like, this was so good, but this was, like, just random fluff that didn't really necessarily need to be included. So overall, I'm not necessarily set on my rating yet, but I would probably say 3.5, 3.75. It was still really, really good. There was just a lot that I necessarily didn't feel need to be included in this. So will I be continuing the series once The Defender comes out in October? Absolutely, I plan to, but again, I probably will get it from the library because this isn't like a book trophy that I need to have. Like, this isn't like one of my favorite books of all time. This is just a good, cute, slow burn romance. So here is where I get myself in trouble. Namesake by Adrienne Young. Did I read? No. I know, I'm terrible, but it was so late last night and I was so tired, so I'm going to be catching up on it today. So I read 212 pages of The Striker, which leaves 145 pages to make it through Namesake, which is literally, let's see, this is 145, so it's literally like almost half of the book, kind of like a third of it. So let's talk about it. So I can't really tell you what Namesake is about because it is the second book in the series, but we can discuss Fable. Fable is about a young girl named Fable who was on the world's largest gemstone collecting ship or something like that, gem trader ship, and it was run by her parents. Well, there ended up being this big shipwreck and her mom died and her dad kind of just lost all interest from that point. He was pretty much like, okay, bye, stay here, and just left Fable to fend for herself. So then Fable is doing a bunch of odd jobs, just trying to survive this terrible situation, and she is actually working to earn money back to go to her father because she feels like if she can prove she's worth it, she'll earn a spot on his ship. And so as she's going through this, there's lots of high stakes situations and there's a little bit of romance, and it's overall a really good time. I rated it a 4 star. So I am really excited to get into Namesake. I do feel like my husband definitely had to push me to pick it up, but rehashing kind of what Fable was about did make me way more excited to pick up Namesake, and I feel like now's the perfect time because I don't think I would want to read something about pirate ships in the winter, so it is absolutely perfect to go ahead and pick this up now. Now we are going to go ahead and generate our pages for today to see if we are going to get any further in Namesake. So remember, we have 145 pages to read today. So let's go ahead. I don't have my iPad, but we are going to ask my Apple Watch. Pick a number 1 through 400. Okay, 87. That's really good because that means less to do. 87 plus 145. I'm not great at math. It's 232. So I have 232 pages to read today, which will be close to closing out Namesake. Let me see how many pages there are. Okay, so there's close to 440 pages, so that will put us at that halfway point. Okay, well, let's get into it. So let's talk. So in Namesake, I am officially a little ways past the halfway point. I have made it to chapter 28, which is page 239 in Namesake. And while I can't go over the details of what's happening in the story, I can say that it was so easy to jump back into, even though I read Fable, I believe, last summer, maybe a little bit after that. But it's so easy to just start remembering who these characters are and what their roles are. And we're meeting new characters as well in here, and I don't find it hard to differentiate these characters. I also feel like it's a newer high-stakes situation that is just so much fun. That doesn't feel repetitive. And I'm really loving it. And there's just some plot twists that I really wasn't expecting. And I do really love that in a fantasy. If you don't know, the Fable series is a YA series. So while there is aspects and a subplot of romance going on, I think so far there has only been one scene, and it was closed door. So this is totally safe for any age. Teenager, adult, whatever, but I'm literally loving it. I don't feel like the writing is YA per se, but it is easy to understand. But I just think the story is so phenomenal. I highly, so far, would recommend it. Now, I would say that it's definitely not going to be a 5-star read for me. Fable wasn't either, but I would say it could definitely be up there. I feel like I'm flying through it pretty fast. Let's go ahead and do the number generator for tomorrow's pages. We are generating a number 1 through 400, and I believe it was 353 and 87. If I get one of those numbers or something close to it, I'll go back and look just to make sure we're not getting the same number again. I know I made this challenge and I picked the numbers, but it gave me 87 today. Was like a breather, but I was still reading a high number because I didn't complete yesterday's, and now it's giving me an even higher number. At least it's the weekend. That's all I could say. But with that being said, we will definitely be finishing Namesake tomorrow. And I'm not sure what I want to read yet, so I'll just tell you in the next update. However, I can tell you I am struggling because I know I need to start reading my TBR for the month, because neither book in this video were from the TBR this month. But there's also a Kindle Unlimited book that popped up on my TikTok page, and it just sounds so fun, and I'm kind of wanting to read that. So I'll just see what I'm in the mood for once I complete Namesake. I will check in with you tomorrow. Okay, time for a little bit of a check-in. So I have finished Namesake by Adrienne Young, and I'm not going to go into details again because I do know that we already talked about it earlier in the video, but look, we're matching. Anyway, I'm struggling with my rating because it was pretty good. I wasn't fully immersed in the story, and I didn't like it nearly as much as I liked Fable. There were different situations. It wasn't like a repetitive thing or anything like that. It just wasn't for me. So I ended up rating this 3 stars, which is still a really good rating. I still think it's worth your time to pick it up and read it, especially if you like this kind of story. There was about 50 pages at the end that were some side characters' romance story. And because it wasn't very prevalent in the book, I didn't find the need to read it or find the interest to read it. So I just didn't read the last 50 pages. It said it's like a bonus novella. So I didn't read that, and I'm not counting that towards my reading goal. But just for transparency. So technically I read 122 pages of this book, which leaves me with 245 left for tonight. Like I mentioned yesterday, I was trying to decide if I wanted to be good and stick to my TBR, or if I wanted to read this Kindle Unlimited romance that I saw recommended on TikTok. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be continuing it, at least in this reading vlog. Let me explain why. The book is called Hot for Hostage by Maggie Evans, and it is sold as a rom-com mafia romance. If that doesn't sound like the coolest thing ever, I don't know what does. But the way it was described is that this girl works at a dog shelter, and she absolutely does everything she can for these dogs. And one day, one of the dogs is kidnapped or taken by a gang member or a mafia member, I can't remember, and she gets it in her head that she should kidnap the mafia man, and that's kind of where the story takes place. And that sounds so fun. That reverse trope just sounds absolutely so funny, so fun. I was ready to sit there giggling and kicking my feet at 2 a.m. Unfortunately, that just didn't happen. I feel like I'm being a hater during this video, but I just am not getting a lot of phenomenal reads. The reason I think I'm not going to move forward with reading this book, it's 436 pages, and I made it about 50 pages last night. And one, I feel like it's moving too quickly between scenes. So we start out at the dog shelter, but within 2 pages, she's learning about the mafia member, and in another 2 pages she's meeting the mafia member, and in another 2 pages she's kidnapping the mafia member, and then in another 2 pages they're going on this adventure together, and he just kind of willingly agreed to it. So one, it's just going way too fast, and I typically like really fast-paced things in books, but this is just way too fast. There's not a lot of descriptors. I hate to be a hater, especially when it comes to the writing, but it is just not good. Another huge red flag for me about this book is when the mafia men originally meet the main character, they're comparing her to a Girl Scout. She's so small and tiny. Oh, maybe she's a preteen. Like, she can't be that old. She's so small. And then when they realize she's older, they're like, ooh, but she has curves. If you think somebody looks like a child, why does your next thought immediately be crushing on them? That is disgusting. And then, okay, this is my final pet peeve for now. I may actually continue to hate read it, but not in this video. But my final pet peeve about this book is that she is the dumbest main character I've ever read about. I don't know if it's because they're considering this book rom-com that they want her to be this dumb, but it's not a funny dumb to me. Like, she is legitimately, let me explain. This is an actual scene that happened in the book, by the way. The mafia guy is being held at gunpoint. Is that gun on safety? Oh my god, I don't know how to turn the gun on safety. Can you turn it on safety for me? Sure. Hands the gun to the mafia guy, clicks it on safety, hands it back. Okay. Next, there's another scene. She says, I don't want anybody to see us because I don't want anybody to think that I'm gonna hurt anybody since I have this gun. And he's like, okay, you better move away from the window then. why don't you sit on a stool? And she just listens to whatever he tells her to do. Like, he'll tell her, sit down, she'll sit. He'll tell her, let's do this, let's do that. She is supposedly holding this man at gunpoint, but he commands and she listens. But it's not in like a funny way. Like, it's not made to like, LOL, this just happened. It's literally like, just like a normal part of the plot. Like, does that make sense? I don't know if it makes sense, but it's terrible. It's so bad. And I feel like I've been reading a completely different book than everybody else, because a lot of the ratings are 3 to 5 stars. There's like 3 1-star reviews, and I don't understand. I don't understand. Did we all just DNF? Or am I reading something that nobody else is reading? Because the premise sounds phenomenal, but the book is so bad. And I'm so sorry, Maggie Evans. I hope you don't see this video. Just remember, reviews are for readers. Okay, but anyway, like I said, not going to discuss that further. I hate to give hate and criticism to things. I mean, the idea for the book was so good. Like, you did so good there. But, so, like I said, we have 235 pages left. So then, 245 pages left. So then we'll minus that 50 from for hostage, and that leaves us with 195 pages left to read. So we're totally going to pick a book from our TBR, but first, because it's getting so late, I actually want to go ahead and pick tomorrow's pages. That way I can read in bed tonight and then also just start in the morning. So now we're going to generate another number, 1 through 400. So I'm really hoping, for TBR's sake, I want a high number, but for my sake, I want a low number. Pick a number 1 through 400. I don't think you can see that, but it says 99, so I mean, it's not bad. It is when you add it to the 195 I have left to get to that. But let's see, 99. So I need to read 294 pages tonight to tomorrow. So let's talk about what I have on the TBR. The first one I have is The Art of Catching Feelings. And then I have An Ember in the Ashes by Sahaba Tahir, Jackpot Summer, Not Quite Dead Yet, and Throne of Secrets. I really don't know what I'm feeling, because after reading those two, I'm not really feeling romance or fantasy. So I have 2 that don't really fit the criteria of a romance or a fantasy, and that would be Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson, and this is a thriller, and then Jackpot Summer is a literary fiction. No, I'm not feeling, maybe I'm just not feeling reading. Part of me wants to lean and go with Jackpot Summer, because I'm not sure I'm feeling a thriller either. However, I feel like a thriller would be quite the palate cleanser, and this is a new release that I've been dying to read. I put this on my TBR for my most anticipated book, so I think I'm gonna go with Not Quite Dead Yet. It's almost 400 pages, so I will literally get through half of it tomorrow. I have completed the 295 pages of Not Quite Dead Yet, leaving less than 100 pages to go till the end, and this has taken my breath away. This is so freaking good. Oh my god, this just puts all of her other series or books so much higher up on my TBR. I literally, let me explain. The main character in this jet knows she's gonna die. She's aware she's dying. She's losing function throughout the book, but she's sitting there trying to solve her own murder. And there's relationship building, there's mystery, there's thrilling elements, and she has the darkest, most funny sense of humor. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I was spooked but also giggling. Like, it is so good. I have a feeling that if this book ends correctly, it's gonna be 5 stars. And what I mean by that is I feel like thrillers really make or break themselves, because in a romance you can like a majority of the elements and give it a 4 or 5 star. In a fantasy it's the same way, but in a thriller it's kind of like the ending is make or break for the book. And right now, I mean, depending on what the ending is, we are heading towards 5 stars. This is so good. I might say, depending on the ending, this is right up there with The Last Word by Taylor Adams for me, and that is my favorite thriller of all time. This is a great Halloween read if you want to read it around Halloween, but it also works at any time of the year. So the main event takes place on Halloween night. However, it's not festivity based at all, other than it took place on Halloween. So let's go ahead. We're gonna roll for tomorrow, see what number we get. I may finish off this book regardless if I get less than 100, because I think, well, truly I think I have about 90 pages left. If I get less than 100, I probably will finish this, but if I get more, I will be picking my next book. And spoiler alert, I have been terrible. So yes, I do need to work on stuff on my TBR, but I now have when I went to return my library books, I got more. And I also got approved for a couple ARCs / already published copies of books on NetGalley. If you don't know what that is, those are digital books that you can get from publishers, and generally anybody can get them. Some are more higher priority where you have to have followers or just really good reviews, but for the most part you can get approved fairly easily, especially if you're reviewing your reads. So I got approved for about 3 on there, and I got 5 books from the library. One of them is a comic book because I kind of want to try that more. I've only read Lore of Olympus, the first one, and I really liked it, so I did want to try more comics. But enough of that, let's get in to rolling. That's more hate it. Okay, 159, which means we will be finishing out Not Quite Dead Yet. So I have to decide what I want to read next. I think I need a little bit of something light and breezy to get the spooky feelings out of my system. So I think I'm maybe going to do a romance, and I did put this one on hold with the library. It is Love is a War Song by Danica Nave. And I don't know much about it, but I did see it a couple times online, so I thought might as well. It's a new release, came out in July. And then I also picked up You with a View by Jessica Joyce. I've heard some good reviews, some bad reviews, but I've always been interested in reading it. And then off of my personal TBR, I have The Art of Catching Feelings. I think I am gonna be good and stick with my TBR and go with The Art of Catching Feelings, but the next read after that I think is gonna have to be one of the library copies before they are due. Ready for the best update ever? 5 stars. 5 freaking stars. This was so amazing. I'm not even kidding you, like, the ending, there was a twist every paragraph of the last 5 pages, but like, it wasn't like necessarily unbelievable twist. I'm not even kidding you when I say the main character is literally the most hilarious character I've probably ever read about. It's so fun. She has this dark sense of humor, and when anybody talks about the fact she's gonna die, she makes a death joke, and it's hilarious. And then on top of that, it's very emotional towards the end, and it made me cry. But I was also laughing and flabbergasted. Like, I felt every emotion you can in the last 50 pages of this book. Every single emotion. If you like thrillers and this even sounds remotely up your alley, pick it up. Literally, this is right up there with my top thrillers. This is probably, I would say, The Last Word by Taylor Adams is like my favorite thriller of all time, but I swear this is a close runner-up. If not, it's taking over spot number 1. Yeah, I'm serious. It is so freaking good. I will be rating it 5 stars on all platforms. So yeah, this is gonna be a hard one to beat. This is definitely by far the best book I've read in a while. So I believe it was 86 pages total that I finished in that book. I don't know, I did the math earlier, but I forgot the numbers. That left 77 pages of the art of catching feelings, and I have completed those 77. I feel like reading this directly after reading a 5-star has maybe impacted my enjoyment a little bit, but nonetheless, I'm still really enjoying this book. So we are following Daphne, and she has recently had a divorce. I think that they had signed the divorce papers the day that she ends up going to a baseball game, and she's not really necessarily a fan of baseball, but she gets there, she's upset, she gets drunk, and she starts to badmouth, or heckle is the word they use, one of the players on the team. And after a couple shouts at him, he breaks down, and she leaves the game, feels terrible, hates herself for it, ends up on the news. It ends up on the news, and she feels super duper bad, reaches out to the guy, apologizes, and then he starts talking back. And it comes to her knowledge that she forgot to paste the apology part of her note and instead made it look like a general apology. And so now they're kind of talking back and forth, and he doesn't know it's her. Her Instagram is like a bookstagram, and so he has no clue it's her, but he is starting to really like her through text, and she's the same way, and she's had multiple chances to come clean, and she has not admitted that it was her at the game. And the back says, Daphne isn't sure how much longer she can keep lying to Chris, especially as she starts working with his team in real life and their feelings for each other deepen. When he finds out the truth, will it be 3 strikes, she's out. So I think this is like an easy breezy summer romance. I'm really enjoying it. I feel like I got through those 77 pages pretty quick. It's a total of 354 pages. So I'm literally almost a third of the way done already, maybe a fourth. But yeah, I think it's going to be really good. I don't see it being 5 stars at this point, but I am really enjoying my time. I don't find myself dozing off or anything. Like, I'm really interested. I feel like we're getting to the juicy parts now that aren't detailed on the back, so I'm interested to learn more. I'm interested to keep reading. But one thing I will note, this cover is like, first off, this cover is like the most beautiful cover ever behind Lila Sage's book covers, but the pages are so fragile. Let me show you something. Okay, I was holding the book while I was reading it. literally just holding it in my hands. And what happens? Oh, I lost it. Holding the book in my hands, reading, and it ripped. I have never ripped a book page while reading in my entire life, and I've read a lot of books. So anyway, if you get the paperback version, this might be the only version of this book. Be careful with the pages. They're fragile. But nonetheless, I'm still really liking it. So let's go ahead. I only have my Apple Watch on today, so we're going to ask how many pages that we will be reading today. Pick a number 1 through 400. 130 pages. Okay, so we will keep trucking on through this book, and I will hopefully update you shortly. This is not necessarily an update that you're gonna love, but I did get myself a day behind, so I still have 130 pages to read. But I wanted to go ahead and film. I'm just gonna go ahead and roll for the next page count so that I can add it for today. Pick a number 1 through 400. 240 or 284. Jeez. Okay. 284 plus 130. 414 pages. Oh. Okay, so what I'm going to do then, I'm going to finish this book up, and then I will decide from there what book I want to go into. It's either more than likely going to be a library book, or I have a couple books on NetGalley that I have arcs of, and one of them publishes, let me see. The first one that publishes is August 19th, so I do need to get that read pretty soon so I can get my review up. So we might do that. Not sure yet though. Let me finish this out and I will keep you updated. I have absolutely finished The Art of Catching Feelings by Alicia Thompson. Now, when I first started this story, I found it interesting, but I think I was still coming off the high of reading Not Quite Dead Yet, that I really wasn't getting into this book as much as I wanted to. And at first I was like, this is okay, but it's not for me. I was sitting around a 3-star, but as I got further into this book and really got into like the meat of the story, I really started to enjoy it. And I ended up giving this book a 4 stars. I am so excited. I felt it was so funny, so heart-wrenching. It had love and drama, and it was overall a really good cheesy romance. I think it was easy to get through, but it had some heartbreaking elements as well, and I would highly recommend, if you like a good romance that's easy to fly through, this is totally the one you should go to. So after reading this, I had about, I think I read like 282 pages of this, and after that I had about, I don't know, 100 and something pages. I actually did do the math, but it's on my phone, and that's what I'm using to film. So I can't give you the exact number, but I do know on my Kindle in the book I chose, it equaled 27% after doing the math, and I did get to 27% of this next book. The next book I chose actually does not publish until September 30th of 2025, so it's an upcoming release. I received this from NetGalley. Thank you to Delacorte Press. I am so sorry. I know I must be mispronouncing that, but they gifted me an e-copy of this book, and I am really liking it so far. So it's a romantasy, it's young adult, it has witches and magic, so it's perfect for this time of year. And it is called The Weaver Bride by Lydia Graykovic. Lovett is a silk witch. Like all girls of her kind, she holds a rare magic. A magic that can be harnessed only through marriage to a weaver. But finding a weaver husband requires status, refinement, and money, all of which Lovett sadly lacks. Her one secret ability to open any door is her saving grace. Hidden in plain sight, Lovett spends her days using her gift to steal from the wealthy families, and her nights avoiding the fate imposed on all the unwed silk witches. A life confined to the cloisters. But opening doors can be dangerous, and when Lovett steals from the wrong person, she finds herself face to face with Elliot Lear, the notorious son of a prominent weaver. It turns out Elliot has actually been watching Lovett. He knows she's a silk witch, and he offers her a life-altering opportunity. Entranced to the vainglory, a competition with the ultimate prize, marriage to no heir, heir to the generation of weaver wealth. The catch? Last year, the vainglory ended in tragedy. The winner died, and the winner was Elliot's sister. The arrangement is simple. If Lovett solves the mystery of Ophelia Lear's death and unmasks her killer, Elliot will ensure she has her pick of weaver suitors regardless of who wins the competition. Yet unraveling Ophelia's murder proves far more complicated than either of them anticipated, and Lovett should know better than to take a weaver at his word. After all, what is love without betrayal? First off, how good does that sound? Secondly, I feel like this book is publishing at just the right time, because it comes out at the end of September, so it's going to be right in time for the fall season when most of us like to pick up fantasies into that fall to winter season, and it has witches, which is giving Halloween right around October, so I think so far, so good. Like I said, I am a little over a quarter into this book. I'm at 27%. Pretty much what the synopsis details is what we have uncovered so far, obviously with more juicy bits. When I read it, I find myself really entranced with the story. I love a good marriage competition, or like winning the suitor's hands or stuff like that, and so it's really fun. There's nothing like scary about the story yet or anything, but each of the witches have what they call a wit, which is like that secret ability they have. So like as it details in the synopsis, Lovett, she can open any locked door, and each of the silk witches have a wit, and so some of the silk witches have made their wits known, some haven't, and so she's trying to uncover things. We're to the point where she is already in the competition, like it's like the first day there, and so she's just trying to learn as much as possible, trying to learn if she should make friends with some of these other silk witches or if she should stay away from them. And obviously she's kind of under Elliot's guidance, but at the same time he is paying her no mind. Like, I can't tell who the love interest is. Again, no, it's romantasy. And obviously Lovett is such a stellar character, and I love that name. Now when she does enter the competition, they do give her another name, but without going into too much detail, because I don't want to detail anything outside of what the synopsis says, but it is super, super duper fun. I highly recommend it. I'm highly loving it. Let's go ahead and pick our pages for today, because I would love to get farther into The Weaver Bride. Okay, and 1, 2, 3. 67. Okay, that is a way to finish out this game so strong. Or so easily, I should say, for me, because I've been wanting a low number this whole time. I am loving reading recently, but at the same time, it's been kind of taxing sitting there for 2 to 4 hours a day to read. So I'm loving that we got 67. So we definitely won't be finishing the book in this vlog, but I will definitely fill you in on our next check-in of if my feelings have changed or kind of where I'm at in the story. So guess what? We are officially to our last check-in. This feels like it has gone on for so long, but also went by so fast. I got so many books off of my TBR. I have officially made it to 40% into The Weaver Bride. And again, this book is not released yet. It should be releasing within the next month. I'm literally loving it. It's so good. I don't think that it is going to be a 5-star for me, but a lot of the elements are literally so fun and so enjoyable, and I can't look away for the most part. There's some parts that I found kind of boring, but I feel like we're finally getting into like the more high stakes part of it, the more meat, if you will, of the story, which is so fun. And I am just enjoying the ride. I love a good true romantasy, which is, I believe it was listed as a romantasy, so if it's not, I'm gonna be literally so shocked. But we're 40% in, and I can't even tell who the love interest is supposed to be, so I'm loving it, like devouring it, like true romantasy fashion. They're not even supposed to be lovers until the very end, right? So I have a feeling I know who it's going to be between the two guys that I'm thinking of, but it seems to me like we don't even see one of the characters that often, so I feel like it kind of rules him out. But at the same time, the story kind of is set up for it to be said character. So I don't know, but I am really enjoying it. I will definitely fill you in on all of my thoughts when I do my August reading wrap up at the end of this month. But for now, this is the end of this video. And if you watched all the way through, thank you so much. This took so long to edit. I literally have already started editing part of this, and we're sitting over an hour worth of clips that I have to edit down. So pray for me. But I cannot wait to film more reading vlogs and book content. And if you're interested, I know the next reading vlog I'm going to be doing will be a spinning wheel video, like for the week, but that will be coming out probably about a week after this video. So if you're interested, definitely stay tuned. I can't wait to get more followers and talk to you guys about books. I love books. I love book content. I love consuming. I love reading. I love buying. I love borrowing. It's just so fun. So if you have any suggestions on improvements for my channel, or things you would love to see, or just if there's anything you would like to know, feel free to drop it in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys, and I can't wait to talk to you next time. Bye.